Okay, folks, so I'm just going to do a bare bones a setup here with a coordinator and router in API mode. I highly recommend the video that I link to in the Git post, as that gentleman does a great job. He goes into detail. But what I'm going to do is I've got the radio that's going to be my coordinator attached to my PC, and I will discover that. API mode's fantastic because you can program your radios remotely. So long as you have any one of them plugged in, you can program the others, which is great. So if these are new radios or what have you, it doesn't really matter if they're new. First thing I would do is run an update, and you're going to make sure that, now you'll notice that I really have two different radios here. They're both Series 2 though, and they both are running the Xbee protocol, so we're fine. So this one I want Xbee API. I'm going to have the newest, and I'll just run an update, although it doesn't really need to be updated. Okay, so I'm all updated to the default for the coordinator API. The only thing I'm going to do is set a PAN ID. It can be whatever you want, as long as it doesn't conflict with any other network ID, and we'll write that. And that's it. That's all I'm going to change for the coordinator. I'm going to switch my radios out now. Okay, so as you can see, I put the coordinator over here in the attached to the Raspberry Pi via USB, and I've put what's going to be the router, the one attached to our Arduino, into my computer, and let's program that one. So I'll do a search, and let's see here. It might not find it here. Might have to, oh, there it is. Okay, let's see. I might have had to wait a second. Now, the other thing I should have done, you'll notice I didn't. I only made one change on the coordinator. You probably should have changed the name on the coordinator, which I did not. It's a good idea to do so. But let's do this. And again, this one was already programmed for a different network. So what I'll do is I'm going to default. So I'll go to the default for this. Or you could just do an update. Right? So what default will do is it'll, whatever profile you have loaded, it'll show you all the changes you made. So you can see everything here are changes that I made, and then you could write those changes. But what I'm going to do is let me run an update here. Right? So just like this, I'm going to choose update. Now this one works a little bit differently. You notice I'm not choosing router or coordinator. If you have the same radios, you'll do them both relatively the same. You could choose router API mode. I just don't have another S version available. But anyway, so I'm going to update this, and I'll show you how you can do the same thing with this one though. Okay, so I updated this radio. I have everything back to the defaults, and let's set it up. So I want the same PAN ID. We want channel verification. We'll want that set. Let's see here. Could notify when we join, but we don't need to worry about that. I'm going to leave the destination high and low to 0. And what that means is it's going to communicate with whoever is the coordinator in the network. So you just leave that as 0. You can give it a name. Again, I should have done this for the other one. We'll just call this one router. Get rid of that space. Let's see here. Anything else we need? Oh, we need to put this in API mode because by default, it's not in API mode. The other radio, the actual firmware that you installed was coordinator API, and if you had another one of those same S2 radios, you could do router API, but this one works a little bit differently. So, oops, I want here. So I'm going to do API enabled 1. We'll write that. You could just write everything at the end. I don't think I wrote this one here. The reason I don't write everything at the end, you'll notice all these change. Well, I guess I did change these two, but it's easy to roll your mouse and be in a setting, and you can see, and you accidentally change that setting. So I tend to just explicitly write the ones that I want to write. Okay, and again, you can see I've got all kinds of changes here. That's just from rolling my mouse after having clicked in the, let's go back to AP, make sure I set that. I did. All right, now if we come down here a little bit, here is where you'd want this to be, especially if you're going to do the LED. You know, if you're not doing the LED video where you're toggling a pin on the Arduino, you won't need to set this, but I assume you're probably going to do that. So I will set that. And then what I'm going to do is I will set the sample rate to a second. And we need to put that in hex, so you can use the little calculator. There's 1,000 milliseconds, and that's the value in hex. Now there's also a I/O detection, change detection, and what you can do is you can set this bit field, and it will, you can say which one of these pins you want to be reported back, in our case to the coordinator, if there is in fact a change. So you can look that up. Look up how it works, although there's a cool little calculator, and all you're doing is turning on the ones that you want to report back. So if you wanted DIO 0 to report back, it would be a 1. If I wanted 0 and 1, it would be a 3, right? And basically what we're doing with bit fields here is no combination would ever add up to the others, right? So if I go to 2, it's a 4, and it couldn't be a 3. You're like, well, it's the third one, but it couldn't be a 3 because the combination of 0 and 1 are 3. So you couldn't use 3. And then if I put all of these in, it would be a 7. Very standard programming thing. But I'm just going to leave that at 0, and I'll let you guys play with those. All right, so that's it. I don't think we have to, and I changed these by accident. I don't need to write those, right? I guess I could write the name, and that was it. So there wasn't too much to change. Right? We wanted to set the ID and channel verification, made sure that we were in AP mode, depending on the type of radio that you're using. So I'm in AP1, and then I just set that DIO 0 to be digital input, so I could read the state of an Arduino pin. All right, so I'm going to pause this, and I'll pop that. And actually, you know what? At this point, I'm just going to stop. This part is fine. This is all you need to do, and then you can go forward with the other two videos. Okay, one more thing. I'm back. I just want to show you one of the nice things about being in API mode is this. Notice I have that router we just set up. I'm going to discover, and I'll discover all of the other radios on the network. And you'll notice that it finds that coordinator. And again, we didn't give it a name, so let's add that. And now what we can do is I'm going to grab the coordinator. Again, that's over here. It's not plugged into the PC at all. That's over here plugged into our Raspberry Pi. And now we can give this a name, and let's just call it coordinator. And we can write that out. Great, now I'm done.